Good morning. Welcome to 10 a.m. yoga. Today is June 11th, Thursday, and I'm Chris. I'm teaching for Key today, and this is an all levels class, so feel free to check in with me if you have any requests today. Hi, Julia. Hi, Lori. Good morning. Let me know if you need anything. Julia has already requested some outer hip work and something to cut through the brain fog. So if there's anything else you'd like to work on, let me know. I think I'm just going to talk for just another minute. Hi, Jackson. Just because there might be a few more people showing up. So I'd like to just see if anybody has any requests. And maybe we could just do a little bit of breathing while we're waiting. So finding your seat, and that means you too, Jackson. Jackson is my nephew. He's apparently watching. So find your seat. You could sit, I'm sitting in Virasana with my knees bent and my lower legs folded like this. But you might like to sit perhaps cross-legged. Hi, Amy. Or in some other position where you can find your spine. Amy, I'm just going to breathe for a couple minutes, and that way if you have any requests, you can let me know. So just find your long spine and start to bring yourself into the awareness of your breath. So let your shoulders relax. Let your jaw relax. Bring your head balanced right on top of your shoulders. Shoulders over rib cage over hips. So there's a nice alignment that allows you to rest your head, no forward head or strain in your neck. So neutral alignment. And then just feel the breath coming in and out through your nose. Hi, Steve. You might allow your belly to relax a little bit on the inhale, and then on your exhale, just gently draw the belly in to help move the air out of your body. In other words, exhale. So taking a few more inhales and exhales before we start moving. If you're holding on to any tension in your face, see if you can soften that. Your eyes and your jaw. Just breathing. And then if you'd like to, you could bring your hands together at your heart and you could set an intention for your practice today. So you could just bow your head and take a breath. And then I'll see if you have any requests. Neck and shoulders, yes. Whoops. Hang on here. And knees are wonky. Some stretchy stuff would be good. I'm grateful to be here too, Amy. All right, let's set the camera and get moving. Just tip it a little. Sorry for the hands in the way there. So let's come to the front of the mat. I had a little mishap with my glasses early on when I was teaching online, and I rolled over on them. So now I'm determined to put them on far away from me while I'm teaching so I don't break my other pair. So find your feet on the floor. You can spread your toes, bringing your feet about hip width. And feel that rebound of energy you get as you press into your feet and you get the length up through your spine, up through the crown of the head. You could close your eyes for a moment and just find your standing mountain pose. And then find your breath. Bringing your hands together at your heart. And then raise your arms. Lengthening up. You can move a little bit, maybe maybe a little side stretching, just swaying a little bit. Coming back to center, lengthening up. And then exhale, come forward, hinging forward at the hip. Finding your long spine. So nice, full, deep breath. You can close off the back of your throat a little bit and find your Ujjayi breathing. It's a very subtle closure of the back of the throat, just soft. And then you'll hear just that little sound in the back of your throat as the breath comes in and out, just to help you stay focused on your practice. And just another breath there, and then we'll step the left foot back. Bring the knee down, and you can bring your weight back and up, balanced over your left knee. You might try lifting your right foot. And then letting your arms come up, lifting the gaze, and finding your breath here. So continuing to ground through your sacrum and lift through the pubic bone and through your sternum, up through the crown of the head. And feeling the strength in your legs, in the center of your body. One more breath here. And then exhale, bring your hands down, step back to downward facing dog. And just bending into one knee and the other. You could wrap your elbows in so your shoulders can slide down the back of your rib cage. Let your neck be kind of at ease so there's not extra tension in the neck. Just enough to keep it kind of framed in between the arms. Trying not to bring our habit of neck and shoulder tension into the various poses. Just breathing. And then let's just come to hands and knees and do a few cat-cows. So exhale, lift your belly, round your spine. Initiate the movement with your pelvis, tipping your pelvis and arching your back. Inhale. Exhale, round through cat. Inhale into cow. Just a couple more times through. And then coming back to your tabletop, and let's just step back to plank, one leg at a time. So you can also keep your knees down. So finding your plank, keeping the head lifted, drawing the belly up and in. Long line from the crown of your head all the way back through the heels so the hips are centered. And then with the knees up or down, just bringing yourself down to the floor with elbows by your sides. And we'll sweep the arms back, clasp your hands, roll up. You might keep the tops of your feet on the floor for this one. And then maybe rolling a little side to side. You might come all the way over. If you're on your left side, feeling your right shoulder blade drawing down. And then back over maybe to your right side. Breathing. And then back to the belly. Maybe you could lift the toes, lift the hands off of your legs and butt. Take 2 more breaths in your locust pose. And then release. Let's come into Sphinx pose for a moment. So elbows just a little bit in front of your shoulders. Kind of feel like you're dragging your heart and belly forward. Keeping the shoulders open. And again, you could move the neck a little bit. Nice steady breath. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck the elbows in, bend the knees, tuck the toes, and lift up to downward facing dog. And you could take the right foot and step it up behind the left foot, bringing the sole of your right foot to the floor. If you need to lift your left heel, you can do that, or try to bring it down if that feels safe for your body. Reaching through your right arm, lifting right hip, and breathing. Feeling that stretch all the way up the right side of your body, and then stepping left foot over right foot, breathing. Let your breath be full and deep and steady. Feeling the stretch in the left side of your body, lifting left hip away from the rib cage, stepping back to center, and take a breath, and then we'll step the left foot forward, bringing your right knee down and coming up. Again, so that you could lift your left foot, letting the arms come up. And lifting your gaze, breathing. Feel how the rib cage changes shape as you take the breath in, so expanding and contracting all the way around. And then we'll step forward into our forward bend. So making your transitions between the poses as conscious as you can, part of your practice, just like the poses themselves. Focusing on your breath. Noticing your tendencies. Tendencies will be different for each of us. And each day is different as well. So just taking a couple more breaths here. And then we'll swing the arms up. And we'll come all the way up. So again, grounding through the sacrum, lifting pubic bone, lifting sternum. Keeping the spine neutral. And breathing as you're reaching through. Lifting your gaze. Exhaling, bringing the hands together at the heart. Pause for a moment and just find your breath. And just noticing how you're feeling after just this one sun salutation. And then raise your arms again, lengthen up. You might feel even like a little stretching in your belly as you ground through your sacrum and lift up. Exhale, come forward into your forward bend. Nice steady breath. Keeping your neck in line with the rest of the spine. This time we'll step the right foot to the back of the mat and come up into Warrior One with the back knee bent enough to keep your pelvis in that same neutral position. So breathing, maybe coming a little deeper. Again, lifting your gaze, finding your breath, staying with it. Exhaling, coming into your downward dog. So resisting any urge to leave your mat for anything. I know it's harder at home because I do it myself. And there's more distractions and you don't have a teacher there bossing you around, so unless you're about to start a fire or something, staying with your practice. So here you might reach your right hand back for your left ankle or lower leg, feeling the back of the shoulder, or right shoulder, and really wrap the left elbow in so that you're really strong in that left arm. And then replace your right hand and reach left hand for lower leg or ankle. Feeling at the back of your left shoulder. Nice steady breath. Reaching through your right arm, letting the right shoulder slide, and then bringing the hands back. And again, let's come into plank, coming forward with the head lifted. And pause. Bring the hips to the right spot. So if they're too piked, or too low. We want to find them right in the middle, neutral position. Maybe you could lift your left leg, and then maybe the right leg. Keep your pelvis, your sacrum level. And then coming down with elbows by your sides. And then maybe up into the higher version of Cobra. Really wrapping the shoulders back and down, lifting through the crown of the head. You could lift your gaze, find your breath here. And also alternately, you could be in Sphinx pose. Again, with your forearms on the floor. And then bending the elbows and the knees. And making your way back to downward facing dog. You can always take prayer pose if you need a break. And then for this variation of down dog, you could put those two variations that we've done together, or do whichever one feels good for you. But you can step your right foot up and over the left foot, maybe reaching for your right ankle with your right hand. Try to keep your breath really smooth, reaching through the left arm, and then coming back to center, left leg over right, maybe reaching for your left ankle. You can also reach for the right ankle, it's a little easier. Nice, steady breath, Ujjayi breathing, wrapping the right elbow in, coming back to center for a breath. Then we'll step the right foot forward to the front of the mat, lifting your back heel and coming up into Warrior One with your back heel lifted. So keeping the back knee bent as much as you need to keep this neutral alignment of the pelvis. If you look down at your right knee, it's tracking over the center of the toes. Breathing. Coming a little deeper, and then we'll step forward again into our forward bend. Just taking a breath here. Watch for the shoulders to start to slouch, just draw them back on your rib cage. If you're coming forward at all, it's with this long spine, everything moving together, and then swinging the arms up. And finding your breath here. And hands together at your heart. I'm just going to double check that nobody had any other requests. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Ira. All right. Let's come back to our mat. Well, you're still on your mat. And let's open up into a wide-legged position and come forward, hinging forward at the hip. And just bend into one knee and the other. You can let your shoulders and elbows go so you're moving. Just let it be easy. And then coming back to center, you could reach your hands back, clasp your hands at your sacrum, maybe stretching into the shoulders again. Trying to keep your neck or your head and your shoulders kind of lifted so you're not rounding forward, but still letting the arms come up if possible. Then releasing your hands, we'll walk the hands over towards the left ankle or lower leg. You could release your head. And just noticing how the weight is distributed in your feet. So for me, I tend to, in this position, I kind of want to lean back into my heels a little bit. But if I tip my tail and move more towards the weight balanced over the center of my foot, it's a little less strain on my knee. And I can find my long spine. And then walking your hands over towards your right foot or lower leg. And again, just watching for where the weight is in the feet. Sometimes my feet like to peel up on the inside and roll to the outer edge. So I'm trying to avoid that as well. That was a bad habit for me for a while, rolling to the outer edges of my feet. And it tends to cause your belly to dump and not have the strength up the center. Go ahead and release that, moving again a little. Just letting it be easy. And then bring your hands to your hips and bring yourself back up. And we're going to turn towards the right foot. So our legs are going to be in this pyramid position. You might make your feet wider. Your hips are square, so we're not twisted or tilted. Hips are square. And then bring your hands back. Clasp your hands at the sacrum and bring the weight, if you can, into your left foot. Maybe you can lift your right foot off the floor. Breathing. Nice steady breath. And then we'll step that foot back down, keeping the hands clasped. We'll come forward into pyramid. So draw the belly up and in, keeping your sacrum level. Neck is long. Drawing the right hip back, left hip forward. Really feel your feet on the floor here too. And then you could release your hands. They could come to your leg or to the floor, or maybe a block. But staying with this long spine. So you're lifting tail, you're lifting your head and shoulders. Navel is lifting towards the spine. Take 2 more breaths here. And then we're going to twist it. So if you'd like to, you could clasp hands again for the twist. Or you can take the traditional arm position, opening your arms, letting your head come back so there's no forward with the upper body. It's opening up. And with the hands clasped, looks like this. You can, if your hands are clasped and you want to come into this twist with your hand down, do that too. Do both of them. Nice big breath. And then bring your hand down, bring the right hand down, and pause. Just take a breath there. And then we'll walk our hands over to the center and just take a breath in the center, bending into one knee and the other. Making it easy. And then we'll walk our hands over towards having our left foot forward, stepping our feet wider and coming up to start in this upright position. So bringing your weight back into the right foot and clasping hands. Finding your breath. Maybe you can lift your left foot. So it's really strong here in your center. Not collapsing, but lifting up. And then bringing that left foot back down. Feet are hip width. Hips are square. Keeping the hands clasped and coming forward. So drawing left hip back, right hip forward. Keeping the neck in line with the rest of the spine. So lifting tail, lifting shoulders. And then release your hands. You could bring them to your, like to your shin or maybe to the floor, but keeping this long spine. Sometimes it's helpful to really press the mound under the big toe of your left foot into the floor, bend the knee a little bit, and then find where your hip is in space and draw that hip back as you straighten the leg. It's a big stretch for the back of your left leg. Nice steady breath. If you're coming forward again, you're not compromising your spine or your breath to do that. Then we'll take the twist. So that could be with the right hand down on the floor, opening your chest, drawing your left hip back. You could also, if you want a little more core work, you could clasp your hands. So breathing, wherever you are, and finding your variation of the pose. You might be looking up, you can look straight ahead, just don't let the head drop, the neck drop. Keep it long. If you're in the hands clasped variation, you could also come into the open-armed traditional variation, this revolved triangle pose. One more breath, and then bringing your hand down, just pause in your pyramid pose for a moment, and then turning again into your wide-legged position, and just easing it out. Moving a little bit. Then let's walk our feet so that they're just a little bit wider than hip width. You could bring your hands down and clasp your ankles, pushing your knees open with your elbows and letting yourself come into a squat. So you're not only are you sitting back and down, but you're reaching your sit bones back. So your body is pretty much parallel, your upper body is parallel with the floor. If you want to reach forward, it gives you a little counterbalance. Keep letting your knees push out. Feeling your feet on the floor. You can also bring your arms out. It's a little easier. Just another breath, and then come into a forward bend again. You could walk your feet apart a little bit and just move, bend into one knee and the other. Just let that be your resting pose. And then let's bring our hands to our hips. Come all the way up with your flat back. Let's turn the toes out. Again, lifting pubic bone, grounding sacrum, lifting your sternum up through the crown of the head as we bend our knees and come into horse pose. So you're not changing the position of your upper body. It's not pitching forward. And then we'll breathe. Inhale the arms up. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. Maybe coming a little deeper. Inhaling up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Just keep going. Becoming stronger. Nice strong base. Let's do 3 more. Inhale the arms up. Exhale. Nice breathing. Last one. Inhale up. This time just let your arms stay out for a moment. Come a little deeper. And then straighten your legs. Come forward. And ease it out. Let it be easy. Let's do a twist here. So we'll bring our right hand in between the line of the toes, and then we'll lift, we'll just turn the spine, lift the left arm, or you could bring it back to your sacrum. Watch for forward head. Just let it lean back, opening your shoulders, turning your spine. You might pick your right hand up if it feels safe for your body to press the right hand into the upper left leg. Kind of gives you a little leverage. Also brings you back into the hips, strengthening, and then unwinding. And we'll bring left hand in between the line of the toes, turning the spine. Right hand comes back to the sacrum. Some people like to bring it back all the way back and around to the left thigh. Watching for your forward head. And then maybe the left hand presses into the right thigh. Try not to hyperextend your knees, so just keeping your legs straight. Not everybody does that, but some of us are a little more hyperextensive and are joints. And then release. And again, just easing it out. And then let's walk our feet in. Let's do 3 grounding breaths like Ki does, just sweeping the arms up and bringing your energy back in. Sweeping the arms up, gathering up your energy and bringing it back where you need it. Centering yourself. One more time. Circling the arms up and bringing it back in. Let's come into downward dog. And we'll do a few poses from down dog. Let's start with pigeon pose. So lengthen your right leg up, lift your foot up, press up through the heel. You can come up onto the ball of your left foot. Really press into your hands and wrap the elbows in. Maybe you could open the hip and bend your right knee. So you're stretching across the front of the right hip. Really press into both hands though. Wrap your elbows in and then lengthen that right leg straight up and draw the knee forward for pigeon. So the knee angles out towards the edge of the mat. You're just going to come forward maybe to your forearms. Come all the way down if you like. Just take your time and feel how your hips stay centered as you do that. And your spine stays long. Some people like to have a block to put their head on, just as long as the head's not dropping. So pay attention to your neck here. Cultivating good habits with your neck and your head. In your practice, that will translate into your real life, so that when you're doing things that are counterproductive for your body, you'll actually notice it because it won't feel right. It takes a while. So a couple more breaths here, just breathing into the discomfort, staying with it. Sometimes it's just boring to stay in a pose for a little while too. So just noticing how your mind starts to mess with you. Like there must be something else I can do, or maybe I should stop, or whatever nonsense chatter comes up. Now if you feel pain, that's totally different. Then you readjust. Or if your foot's falling asleep, that's no good. So just noticing. Then walking your hands in, bringing your left hand to the floor, reaching back for your left foot with your right hand. You can kind of pull yourself with the ankle, pull yourself into more of a shoulder stretch and back bend. If you can't reach the foot, just maybe you bring your hand back to your thigh, or you just twist a little bit. Some people use a strap around the foot. Another breath, and then bringing your right hand down, reach back with your left hand. So it could just be to the ankle. It's a little easier to get there than in the twist. Or maybe you're bringing your heel towards your buttock and spinning your fingers. Lots of ways to go. Breathing as you're reaching through. Nice steady breath. And then slowly releasing that. Let's step back up to downward facing dog. So get your hands set, tuck your toes of your left foot, and lift up. Use your core. So make that transition about a little conscious transition using your core muscles to help you. And just moving into the hips a bit, evening it out. And then we'll let the left foot float up. So wrap those elbows in. Press into your hands, lift up. You could come to the ball of the foot, right foot, press up through the heel. Try not to change try not to lift to either hip or drop the left hip. And then you could bend the knee and open the hips. So feeling a stretch across the front of the left hip and belly, even as you're pressing into both hands, straightening that leg up and drawing it forward for pigeon. Taking your time, coming forward. Some of you like to do pigeon at the bar here during regular times. And you can do that at home too. You can do it on the back of a couch or a chair. If pigeon down on the floor doesn't work for you, also on your back. I know some of you are well versed in this. So staying with the breath and the long spine. Watching for the head to drop forward. Keeping the neck long and neutral. And just a couple more breaths, staying with it. This is a good place to practice your Ujjayi breathing, because you can hear it, right? And then we'll walk the hands in. We'll bring the right hand kind of at the left knee and reach back for the right foot with the left hand. I like to bring it onto the outside of my ankle so that I can really open my left shoulder. Kind of pulling into the hand with your ankle. Also might feel it in your psoas on the right side. And the hip flexors. Nice steady breath. Lifting up through the crown of the head, so not letting the head droop here either. And then releasing that foot, bringing left hand down and reaching back with your right hand, which is maybe a little easier. You could try bringing yourself into this quad stretch if that works for your body, bringing the heel towards the buttock, spinning your fingers. Still lifting up. Big stretch of the quads and the shoulder, breathing. Okay to still be here. However it works for you. One more breath. And then release your foot. And again, tuck the back toes, really plant your hands and lift up with your core. Come back to downward dog. Just moving the hips a bit, wrapping elbows in, shoulders are sliding. Let's step the right foot forward. And we're gonna step the left leg up. So you'll be in Warrior 3 with fingertips on the floor. You can use blocks if you need to, so press back strongly through the heel of your left foot as you draw your right hip back. You might even bring your hand up to your right hip and feel where that hip is. See if it can draw back to lengthen the right side of your body. And then maybe coming into the twist, so reaching your right arm up as you lengthen the right hip back and press back through your left heel. Keeping your sacrum level. Draw the belly in, breathing. Ujjayi breathing helps. Then bring your right hand down just a little out from your right big toe, and we'll come into this half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. So flex through your left foot. The hips are opening and reaching your left arm up. You might bring a little weight out of your right hand. So opening up the front of your body. If you want to bind it, you could reach back for your left foot and open up the hip and the shoulder that way. Or you can stay with the leg straight for one more breath. And then bring the hand down and step your left foot back and then your right foot back. Just coming into your downward dog. If you need a break, you can come into prayer. So you could bring your knees down and come into prayer pose. And then we'll step the left foot forward. And you can bend your left knee a little bit as you lift the right leg. And again, we're going to maybe bring the thumb into the hip, the left hip, just feeling how it wants to come forward towards the ribs. Draw it back, press back through your right heel. Your sacrum is level. And then you might twist it. You could bring your hand back to the sacrum also, or lift it. Maybe turning the head or the gaze, keeping neck long. It's an intense pose, twisted. I don't know what it's called. What's it called? Twisted warrior? I don't know. Bring your left hand down, kind of diagonal out from the left little toe, and open up into this half moon pose. So you're stacking your hips and opening your chest, keeping the neck long. And then you could bind it if you want. You don't have to, but you could reach for the top of your right foot and open up your chest in the front of the right hip. One more breath wherever you are. And then bring the right hand down, closing the hips, stepping the right foot back and the left foot back. And you're in your downward dog. Let's bring the knees down and the hips back. You could swing your arms back, come into child's pose. So you might make your knees a little wider, makes a little more room for the belly and easier to get the head all the way down. And just rest for a moment. And hear your breath. Bringing your heart rate back to its resting rhythm. And then coming up, let's come forward to forearms. And let's do a dolphin pose first. So you might clasp your hands, it's a little bit easier on the shoulders, or you could just bring your palms to the floor. Notice how if you turn your palms open and you set your shoulders, just rotate your arms rather than rolling your shoulders in. Keep your shoulder blades on your rib cage as you do that. You have this bone called the radius that allows your forearm to rotate. So tuck your toes and lift up. You might keep looking at the floor, kind of pressing into the floor and lifting up. Maybe you're lifting one leg. So lift your left leg, keep your right hip lifting also, so you're not collapsing. And that's the same, the hips are still square. And then lifting your right leg. So press up through the heel to get that lift. Breathing, bringing that leg down and knees down, and rest. Again, you could bring the arms back to rest your shoulders. Breathe into your back. Let your back inflate with your breath. And into your neck. And then let's come forward again. This time let's do a plank like our dear friend Ruth Bader Ginsburg does on our forearms. So bringing the shoulders over the elbows, keeping this front part of your chest from really rolling forward. So again, you could open your palms and then just keep your shoulders right where they are. Feel your shoulder blades right on your back snugly. Turning your hands and then stepping your legs back. Again, lifting your belly. So it's the whole body is working to resist gravity here. Keep the head lifted. Belly's lifting. Take a few more breaths. If you need to come down, just come down. Just think of Ruth. And then let your knees come down and the hips come down. And just rest for a moment, rocking your hips. And just for the shoulders, let's reach the shoulders back. Clasp the hands and just stretch into your shoulders, lift your toes. Keep the neck long. You could move a little bit. Let the neck be relaxed. And release. Mark your hips. And then let's make our way back to downward dog again. We had a request for outer hips and neck and shoulders. So let's do another hip stretch. Let's bring your left foot forward. And just coming into a low lunge. So you might need blocks or you could be on your fingertips. You're keeping your head and shoulders lifted. So stay there for a couple breaths. Really strong in your back leg. Breathing. And then you could let your right knee come down. Maybe bringing your hands onto the inside of your left foot, still keeping lifted. And then you could let your knee drop out to the side. Maybe opening the sole of your foot. You might be coming down to your forearms, maybe to a block under the arms, but keep the neck and the spine long if you come down lower. Might be easier to just stay up on your hands. And then draw that knee back in. Turn your toes, angle your toes out towards the edge of the mat. You might bring your right forearm down. Maybe you can reach for that left ankle with your right hand and take a twist. So open your chest. Your knee can fall away from you, that's fine. You could also reach back for your right foot and open up that way. Really stack your shoulder over your elbow and lift up as you maybe draw your heel in towards your buttock, or just maybe staying here for another breath. You might feel a different stretch in the outer hip. And then bring your hands back and turn the toes in. And then come into this stretch of the hamstring. So turn your toes up. This is like a half splits pose. If it's part of your practice and you want to, you could also come into a full split. Or maybe you put blocks underneath your thigh, your left thigh. So staying in the half splits or coming fully into splits. If you're in splits or moving towards there, keep the hips square. So don't let your right hip draw back. Keep it forward. It makes it harder, but safer. So lifting up. One more breath. And then we'll come out as gracefully as possible and come back to your downward facing dog. And we'll do the other side. So we'll step the right foot to the front of the mat, coming into this low lunge again. So reaching back through the left heel, lifting your shoulders and your head. I'm up on my fingertips. Another breath. And then we'll bring the left knee down. You can bring your hands onto the inside of your right foot and let the knee drop out to the side, maybe opening the sole of the foot, maybe coming to forearms. If you can keep your spine long. So feeling that in the outer hip, wherever you are. Being cautious with your knees. We're not trying to put any extra stress on the knee. It's more about the hip. A little stress is part of the deal, but not a lot of twisting. Then bring that foot back in. Turn your right toes out, angle them out. And you could bring your forearm, your left forearm across the mat, reaching for your right ankle with your left hand, shoulder over the elbow, and then maybe twisting. And letting that knee kind of move away from your body. Maybe you're reaching back for your left foot, drawing the heel towards the buttock, and you're really stacked over your elbow. The head comes back. Twisting, feeling the hip stretch, breathing, releasing that foot, and bringing the hand back. And then we'll come into that half Hanumanasana. So the heel comes forward, toes point up. That might be just it for you right there. Keeping your spine long. You can also come up onto your fingertips or blocks if you need to. You might come all the way into splits, or maybe into a variation where you have a block underneath your right thigh, or a cushion. So keeping the hips square. So the left hip is coming forward as the right hip moves back. Breathing. We're not collapsing into our hips. We're not just dumping. We're really engaged and lifting up. Also really flexing your front foot so the quads are engaged on the right leg. Maybe your glutes are engaged on your left buttock. And then releasing and making our way back to downward facing dog. One more time, into down dog. Maybe bending into one knee and the other, just bringing yourself. Feel your core engaged. Breathing. Replace your left hand and let your right foot come down. Take a breath, and then we'll really wrap left elbow in. Let your left shoulder slide. Bring your right hand up to the sacrum. Really plant your right foot and let your left foot float up, perhaps, or maybe you're just staying with a three-limbed dog. Left shoulder blade is sliding down the rib cage, lifting up, pressing up through the heel of your left foot, drawing belly in, breathing. Bring your right hand back, left foot back, knees down. Let's bring the knees apart. And we'll come into frog pose. So maybe your feet are together. Again, keeping the long spine. It's easy to start dropping the head or messing with your hands, so just relax your hands. Coming into like a sphinx is helpful. Staying with it for a few more breaths. And then we'll come forward to come out and bring our legs together and just rock your hips a little bit, side to side. Just resting for a moment on your belly, breathing into your belly. Feel your belly press into the floor as you inhale. You turn your head to the opposite side. Just letting your nervous system settle down quickly. You can extend your exhale a little bit to do that too. And then let's come up and let's have a seated twist. So Let's all start with, our left leg straight out and our right leg bent. So we'll take a couple different variations. So if you want to hug your right knee in just to get the leverage to lift up, and just stay with that for a couple breaths, pressing through the foot, the sole of the foot. And then you can bring your left arm underneath or just wrap your elbow around and bring your right hand back as you just turn your spine. Press strongly through your left foot so there's engagement in your left leg. So nice steady breath. You're just turning the spine. And then unwind, come back. And just take a breath. And then we'll straighten that leg and we'll bend the left knee. So sitting up tall, finding your spine. And then we'll wrap. Or you could also reach underneath, whichever is more comfortable. Try to keep your right shoulder, well, both shoulders from hiking up and turning into the twist. So trying not to overuse your neck, because the neck has a little more ability to turn than some of the other parts of the spine. But don't drag yourself into the twist with the head. Just keep it at ease. And then turning back and pause for a moment. And then just straighten your legs and let your feet go side to side. Just releasing the hips a bit. Maybe bouncing your knees a little bit. And then let's bend to the left knee this time if you can, and we'll take the twist like this. If you're feeling like that doesn't work with your left knee, just keep your leg straight and we're going to just do it again. So if you can plant your right foot on the floor and your sit bones stay down, then you could take that twist with the knee bent. If you have to redo it with your left leg straight, that's perfectly good too. Opening your chest and finding the twist. And noticing that you can keep your breath moving smoothly. So there's no interruption of the breath. If it feels like there is, just back off a little bit and then turn back towards the front of your mat or facing forward. And then we're going to stack the knees for this steer pose. The left leg could be straight here too, which would look like this. Sometimes it helps to kind of lift up your sit bones and your seat and get the knees stacked and then sit back down. And you might stay right there, or maybe there's some forward movement, almost like somebody's pulling on your sternum. You're not drawing yourself forward with the head. So really feeling that in your back of your hips. Sometimes I like to tuck my thumbs into my hip crease just to remind myself of that hinge joint there of the hip. Nice steady breath, Ujjayi breath. And then backing it up. let's try this one where you come to the bend of your left knee. You might have to back your hips up a little. And you can bring your hands back behind you, flex your right foot, and put that ankle on top of the left knee. Maybe you're walking your hips back towards the heel. So you're kind of pressing up and lifting your heart. And feeling that outer hip again. Breathing. And then walk your left foot forward and come onto your back. And either come into this stretch where you reach back for your left thigh, or you might try reaching for your foot with a straight leg, only if you can keep your sacrum on the floor, tailbone pressing back towards the floor. You can also use a strap, flexing your right foot. So it could just be thread the needle like this. I like to rock side to side too. And then release your leg if you have it. Just unwind your legs and just let them come up and shake them a little in the joint, just kind of rolling your femurs. You can bring your arms up and shake your arms. We're going to do the other side. Just letting it go. And then we'll roll up. And we're going to start with the twist, the seated twist with the left foot over the bent right knee, or the straight right leg again. And we'll start with this twist, maybe reaching underneath the thigh, opening chest, breathing. So really feel grounded in the sit bones. If you don't, just straighten your right leg. Feel how the ribcage expands and contracts here with the breath. So expanding out to the back and to the sides and to the front. Feeling the intercostal muscles and tissues stretching with the breath. And then unwinding. And we're going to stack the knees. I like to lift my hips up to do that. You could also keep the right leg straight. Coming into steer pose. Gomukhasana. So obviously if you have any knee pain, we're backing away from that by straightening the bottom leg or doing something different. You can always just come onto your back and do thread the needle or figure four, whatever we call that. And maybe you're coming forward, you might tuck your thumbs in for the feel the hip hinge. Another breath or two here. It's a pretty deep stretch. And it does get easier over time a bit to get into the pose, but it's always a hard pose. All of the poses are always hard in some way. You might be more comfortable in them to some degree, but there's always challenge. And then bringing yourself back up, you could bring the right foot to the floor in front of you, bringing your left ankle right on top of the knee, and maybe your hands behind you so you're kind of getting a stretch while seated, lifting your heart. You could rock a little into the hip joint. Flex your left foot. You can also move your seat closer to your heel. And then we'll walk the right foot forward and roll down onto our back. maybe reaching through for a thigh. Keep pressing your sacrum back to the floor so your tail is moving towards the floor, the tailbone. Maybe rocking side to side. If you want a little more, you could also reach for the foot. You might be, if you're in this figure 4 stretch, you might be pressing your left elbow into your left knee. Maybe you're kind of rocking side to side, whatever feels good. And then just unwinding your foot and drop both knees in. You could just circle around a little bit and maybe extend your legs up and your arms up and just shake it out, let it go. And then let's bring the feet to the floor. Arms down by your sides, keeping that curve underneath your neck, lifting your hips. And maybe if you want a little more shoulder action, you could slide your shoulders underneath and being conscious of your neck. So you're in bridge pose, lift the hips. It's like the knees, the inner thighs are kind of magnetized towards each other, but they're not actually moving towards each other, they're staying parallel. And then unroll on your shoulders, one out at a time, let your hips come back down. And maybe straighten the legs out. You could just stretch the back of the neck a little bit, lift your head, and draw the chin towards the chest. If that feels good for your neck. And then release the head, bringing your head back down and the neck to its natural curve. Maybe you could just gently lift the back of the head off the floor. Keep your alignment neutral, so just hold it for a couple breaths. So you're resisting gravity with your head. You can really feel how heavy your head is here. And then bring it back down. Not too much stress, just a little to build some strength. Turning the head side to side. I don't want to do too much ball work because we need to bring this class to a conclusion, but if you have your ball handy and you want to put it under your neck in these final moments, that may be a nice way to end. You can also use tennis balls to just bring yourself down towards the floor, more into a resting state. Feels good to turn the head from side to side. Maybe staying on one side. Pressing into those muscles. And then to the other side. Feeling how the breath is coming back to its own natural, comfortable rhythm. And then maybe bringing it back to center for a couple breaths. Tennis balls are really nice too, especially if you have two of them. You can bring them on either side of your spine, of your cervical spine, and press in. So just another breath with the ball under the head. Just feeling how you're starting to really bring yourself back to calm. And then take the ball out, set it off to the side. You might want to roll your whole body out after class. I don't know. Bring yourself back towards Shavasana. Maybe just a little bit of neck massage by squeezing into the back of your neck for a moment. You'd think with all this time at home with our families, we'd be rubbing each other's necks, but I can't really say that's happened a lot at my house. Well, I did give my son quite a few neck rubs when he was still at home, but then he moved out. So just a couple moments, feeling the spots that need it. And then just bringing your arms down, the backs of your hands to the floor. I don't know if my nephew's still listening, but he could always give his mom a neck rub. Bringing yourself into corpse pose. So really letting yourself surrender for a few moments. Corpse pose is important. So don't cheat yourself. Just allow yourself to surrender the weight of your body, to come into this relationship with gravity that is completely allowing you to soften and to let go of muscular effort. And to have a few moments where you're not doing anything but resting. So, feeling how gentle your breath is. And feeling how you can totally surrender. And just feeling the good effects of all the work you did in your asana practice and your breath practice for the last hour and 15 minutes. And then you might roll over onto your right side and come back to a seated position, however that is best for you. Maybe sitting up on something. You can always sit on a chair if you need to. Like Lori, if your knee is bothering you. I'm sure you're taking good care of it. And then in your upright position, you could bring your hands together at your heart. And find your breath again, just breathing, pausing to recall your intention for practice today if you set one, bowing your head to your own practice, to your own inner teacher, your higher self, or your higher power. Namaste, and thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for supporting the Hatha Yoga Center during our stay at home, and now as we move with uncertainty into our future of opening up. Thank you.